Hello again, you wonderful, wonderful people. Now, if you have come from the previous live stream, obviously we're done with Roblox now. We are now going to play some Planet Coaster 2. Now, if you've ever played Planet Coaster, then drop a comment. I do love it when people comment, because that's not often. And I'd love it if people did it more. So, without further ado, we're going to spawn in to one of my parks. I don't know which one. I feel like I need to delete some old ones. So, just deleting a few so that I've got enough storage for parks. So, we're going to make a new park. So, I think we'll go with Temperate. A name, I don't know what it's going to be called yet. We're just going to be creative. We're going to have unlimited cash, no management of anything, because it is quite annoying. So, we have spawned in to the wonderful island, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. So, for the start of the park, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to just set the time of day to a certain fixed point. I love 12 because it's, you know, sun's directly above, you don't get any problems. So we have stamp scale. I'm going to use the stamp scale. This is how I normally start parks. So there's usually... Sorry about that. There's usually normally about 3 or 4 things before I build. I'm actually going to go and actually build an entrance plaza this time. Never usually do that. In fact, actually, just cut that off. I'm actually going to build some stuff. Never normally do that. It's a far step for me. So, scenery. Let's go. Never really used mouse and keyboard, to be fair, on Planet Coaster. So, we're going to have... where's the bamboo texture? Is that bamboo? No. Oh. Grid props only. There we go. So, without further awaiting times, we're going to go. So, this is bamboo, right? Okay. So, bamboo. Usually I like to see this as a controller, so this will take over now. So, usually I will do this, 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 and this. And then I like to box it up so that when we do, you know, carve the different doorways out, then it's easy to use. So there we go. So in this shop, well, it's not a shop, it's just entrance plaza. I'll put signage on the front welcoming people. And yeah, so this is actually quite equal. We're not going to have anybody go that way. We're just going to have, I think we'll have, I don't know actually. thinking about it, we could just go back a little bit and create some stalls for the inside. There we go. So that gives us space for 3. So that'll be a toilet block in central, and then information stalls. So information, and then if we do toilet there, and then need to get to front for the shop, like that. There we go. And then fill these in, because I don't like much space within these things. We'll put, I say door, but it doesn't, I suppose. No. Yeah, actually we will. And then what we need is create some doors like that. And then I want an arch for this little bit here. Like that. And then what I like to do, oh no, duplicate. Then what I like to do is build up. When doing this, I then think of ideas to do extra. So obviously we're not going to go bother with that. So now I've thought of the idea of putting one, sort of long, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's part of the wall. It's the same thing we use for the door frames. Where is it? There. One of them, because there's also a piece that you can fit in using that, and then obviously we'll have to grid height a bit, edit, and there we go. So obviously with the shop being like that, we'll need to shape these, because otherwise they will literally just walk through walls, which I hope Frontier learn to get around at some point, because it's very annoying. Right, so all it really needs is one either side, and then pathways can go back to normal. Now, I usually create like a center piece, a lake or something quite deep, quite turned around the edges, like that, and then I will either chisel like that, and then getting it back to normal, do that, and then it's usually a focal point, so let's delete the water and then make it a bit rounded. So, keeping that in mind now, you can build rides around it because, you know, it's kind of the focal piece. I mean, I know it's a bit of water and, you know, it's not really any point to it, but you could, like, I will build a water coaster now to go with it. I hate that when you... Oh, there is extended track limits, okay. And then you sort of want to get a good angle. Obviously, you don't want to go higher than the lift hill because there won't be enough momentum. It's a bit steep, actually. And then, obviously, you want it. I don't know. Obviously, Planet Coaster 1 had the thing where if the water touched Coaster's cart when it was going, it would splash, but I don't think it does it in this game. No, it doesn't. But it doesn't... Also, water doesn't affect... the, the water doesn't affect the coaster speed. And obviously, because it's water-based, you know, water coaster. Okay, so there's lots of speed in that. I might need to put a few trim brakes. Now is a good time really to start lifting the train out. So far we've got a bit of water, you know. If we were to just leap to the water for a second, god damn, those supports are going down low. They'd need replacing in the UK after 2 years. Right, okay, so flatten to side. Ooh, I've never used that feature before. Does that affect the inside, so? Oh no, because it forms around it, that's good. Okay. So, with that, put the water back in which it's a bit low. There we go. There we go. I mean, the water is a lot different to actually in the lake. Obviously with drainage and everything. Obviously we can just put a few rocks in this area to stop people from wandering. So if we just put huge boulders. Don't like the stick to surface feature, it's a bit bad. So we should do that. Adds to the overall aesthetic of the building, and also gives people comfort for oh, it doesn't, you know, doesn't look safe. So that needs moving a little bit. So let's continue on with that. So that reassures people that it's now safe, and they can see some of the rock in there. That's quite good, that. Right, I'm gonna just oh no, this is going a lot worse than it should already be doing. Right, okay, we're gonna scrap this idea of a whole center point, because right now it's going very badly. Right, let's just get this over and done with. Let's zoom that up to 197. I'll start again. It was going to be a good coaster as well. Right, literally just do a huge dip. Dip, not, oh my god. We'll do it a bit inland as well. There we go. It's like very round, but you know, we'll deal with that. Now, I'm gonna go with one of these water coasters. So, never really used this model before. Now obviously this might not work, so I'm gonna put a little booster hill here in case it doesn't. I mean, it should. I mean, it honestly might not. It's not turning into a chain lift. There we go. So we're going to test this now and see if anything happens. I want to know what this turntable does because I don't know which way it goes. Oh, it's a bit bad. Yeah, so that needed the... Okay, so that's going down so far. So now we're going to come up a hill. Like that. Come to a stop. To which I hope is going to work. Right, let's see. So, we go down, we go up the booster lift, which we shouldn't really need, but so then we go nice and slowly as if we're going to stop. Down, over an airtime hill, backwards mind you. That's not going to make it. Oh. Oh, that was correct. So we've established a lovely, lovely base coaster for this park so far. Obviously, we're going to smoothen it to, you know, be more profiled. But that is quite good. Now, obviously, we're going to have to do some more things. Let's do... a lovely steep one now. Actually, that's a bit too steep. Right, so there we go. That, in a nutshell, is the first coaster, and it's a bit of a weird one. But it should do. It's probably going to be the main coaster of the park at this point. But it should help with being the fun. This part is probably going to be the fun part of the entire coaster, obviously, with that helix. As a theme park called Divine likes to say, helix, helix. you know? It's going to be a fun part of the coaster. But yeah, obviously it's got a max height of 139 foot, so not too bad. But yeah, overall it's a good coaster. And obviously this first bit, I want to see what this is like without I'm going to just leave it at the top. So, we go back. World's longest coaster, world's first coaster with the longest back section of track. Okay, so it definitely needed that. So that just about managed that back up. So then that's going to turn, and then it angles itself a bit down. It's lovely profiling. And then you drop into lake, whatever we're going to call it. No, that needs sorting there. But eventually you'll... Is that hopping over the... Okay. So there we go. And then if there's another train, you'd get soaked also. So then you go up, and then you're on the steep one, so you know you're not going to face backwards. Quite a dangerous... Wait, that's quite good. Because then it'll get them scared, and then they go down this... You know, piece of track, and it's like, whoa. The world's fastest water coaster. So we go in nice and slow, and then because of the incline last piece we go in, and then we have some quite bad things. Now I wish this coaster had a bit of launch track. Now obviously that's your only major piece of launch, because you start like that and then it'd be lovely to launch backwards up a hill, but lovely silent stream for you, this, viewers here. Okay, so then you go up, and it's like, oh my god, we're turning, and then it's like, oh my god, what? We're not turning? Oh, and then they're like thrown into this huge thing. And all of a sudden they're like, whoa, we're done. But yeah, that for you is first coaster in a park. It's quite out and back, the layout, but it will do. Right, so now we're going to create a little kids coaster to just shove in a corner. And this is a kids coaster. Coaster. This is the idea people say in their heads when they say slam into the brakes. Personally, don't know how this coaster's going to run, or how it could ever run, because it's literally got a tiny little up-stop wheel. And does it even have enough power to... Brilliant. Restart. I think we all know that's where it was going anyway. So, now we're going to try and do... This isn't going to be a real park, just saying, guys, yeah? So, we're going to do what Falcon's Flight does and just do a whole park tour. So, this may look a whole total mess when we're done. But we're going to go for World's Tallest Roller Coaster right now. Yeah, definitely. So, we hit the block section. And then we go on to the part where people got stuck twice, don't know how. And then, we're not going to go full Falcon's Flight, we're just going to go... I'm going to have a holding piece. Now, this is a total mess, as you can see. But yeah, the start of it's quite good. And then you're like, oh, fudge. And it's like, whoa, wouldn't have done this before. Wait, what? We had a rollback? No, I don't care. That coaster's bad. So, say we were meant to have a Intamin Hyperia. Obviously that needs to be a lot higher than the normal thing. So say Intamin built Hyperia. So... Yeah, so now an intern, they would have done like a little pre-lift. And then it would have been the good old lift hill. And it would have been the most sharpest of turns. And then all of a sudden you'd be watching yourself from heaven. So, we've got this very wacky thing called a pre-lift section that's not going to... Profiling, love it. Anyway, goodbye.